What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Criterion Corner. This is the segment on my channel where I choose a film from the Criterion collection or that is streaming on the Criterion channel, and I talk about it in great detail. And today, the movie I'm going to be discussing is currently streaming on the Criterion channel. And I saw the title of this and read about it recently, and I saw an article that it was like the anniversary of the release of this movie, and it sounded like something right up my alley, a social satire that is also a slasher film and sort of a psychological drama mixed with comedy. Like there's all different kinds of things incorporated into this one. There were some familiar faces, actor and actress wise, that I was excited to see in this movie. I think it came out in like 2000, so curious to see what I would think about this one. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is Psycho Beach Party. Psycho Beach Party is directed by Robert Lee King. Chicklet is a 16-year-old tomboy who's desperate to be a part of the in crowd of Malibu Beach surfers. She's the typical American girl, except for one little problem. Her personality is split into more slices than a pepperoni pizza. So I was super excited to watch this movie, and what I will say about this is it is wildly entertaining. I don't think it is a movie without flaw. I definitely think for an hour and a half long film, there's some pacing issues with it. There were some moments where I found myself being a little less than invested, but I think this is very similar to, say, like John Waters when it comes to deconstructing societal norms and tackling some subject matter that I thought was handled very well. And I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit about it today. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to teenager Florence, or Chicklet, played by Lauren Ambrose, and she is at the drive-in movie theater where everyone around her, all of the kids in high school, they're all like making out while the movie's going on, and she is sitting in the car with her friend and kind of discussing, why am I not like them? Why do I not feel the same way? Why do I not want to do all of these things? And her friend's just like, well, maybe you're just different than everybody else. And she gets out of the car to go get snacks for herself, and while she is doing that, one of the kids in one of the cars is murdered by someone. Their throat is slit, which sends this police officer in with her deputy to do an investigation of all of the kids in the community. And we're introduced to a multitude of characters, mainly this group of guys who are in this surfing crew, where it's very overtly masculine in the most absurd way imaginable. And she wants to be a part of that group. She wants to be cooler. She thinks everybody thinks she's really lame and a nerd. And we find out early on that when she sees these patterns or images, it unlocks different parts of personalities inside of her. She essentially becomes an entirely other person, which leads her to believe, am I the person killing these people in the community? Because these murders start to happen at a rapid rate. So the entirety of the film is watching our lead character try to figure out if this personality disorder that she has is correlated with the murders happening in this community. So like I said, I thought this movie was wildly entertaining and very reminiscent of a lot of things that I really appreciate. I loved the performances in this movie. It's very much trying to encapsulate like those 1960s surf movies. It's very vibrant and colorful, and so the performances are giving off very like hokey, over the top, very campy. Like I said, John Waters is a perfect example of that. Just like taking this idealized version of the time period, but being really satirical and ridiculous with the dialogue. Just the way that the characters interact with one another. There were a lot of moments that I just found myself laughing really hard. I thought Lauren Ambrose's performance in this was really incredible. Like she was the highlight of the movie when her character would go through those personality splits. She just nailed it brilliantly in a way that I thought was really, really funny. Charles Busch, who plays Monica Stark, who is a real life drag queen, was phenomenal in this as well. His performance was so over the top and campy and ridiculous and provided so much personality to this movie. Anytime he was on screen, I was just completely and totally blown away by his performance, especially like there's one scene in particular where he was having sex in a car, and it was just one of the most absurd things that I've seen in a movie recently. And there's just a really great cast of characters throughout this movie that I think provide a lot overall to the experience. I loved this film visually and stylistically. I think that it captures the environment of the community really well. And like I said, really sort of leaning into films from this time period, especially like these surfer movies from the 1960s, and then sort of dipping into like slasher territory. It's not really stylized like that type of a movie, and I feel like the kills are relatively infrequent, so I wouldn't classify this completely in like the horror slasher genre, but I really love the way that they were able to incorporate some of the more horrific moments and sort of directly contrast that with the comedy of the film, which is probably my favorite part of this movie overall, which is the direct societal commentary, especially when you look through the lens of our lead character, her personality disorder that she has, and then her just feeling like an outcast from the rest of the world solely because she has different interests and pursues different things. It's also sort of hinted that her character might have more of an attachment to her female best friend. The movie actually looks at sexual identity in a way that I thought was very well handled. Two of the men who are like overtly masculine, that are constantly like wrestling, and there's some really funny scenes with their characters as the film goes on and hints more and more that the two of them are probably gay. I thought that the way that it took sort of these stereotypes and ideas of certain communities and kind of just tackles it head on and really just looked at like this sort of sanitized, idealized version of a specific time period and said, hey, just because people are different, practice different lifestyles and those things doesn't mean that they're wrong, and kind of does it in this comedic way that I think brings it to light and makes it very poignant. There's also some really fantastic commentary when it comes to Hollywood as an industry and the way people consume certain media when it comes to this actress that's introduced as a lead character, that she's like a B movie actress in all of these like horror movies that people kind of poke fun at, but she sees her art as this very real thing. And like our lead character's best friend, when she's watching this campy B movie, sort of picks apart all of these like things thematically that are exposed that she believes that the movie is trying to showcase through its symbolism, and everybody just kind of like shakes her off like, what are you talking about, it's a lame horror movie. And I thought that was a really interesting piece of commentary to add on, where it's like art impacts people differently and people can pull different things away from media, which is what I thought was so incredibly brilliant. It was sort of reflective of the film that you were watching right then and there, which is like comes across as this really campy, over the top, ridiculous movie that's trying to say something so much larger. And I thought that's what really made the movie special. And like I said, it's not a perfect film by any means. I do think it feels a little bloated. There were some times where I was kind of pulling in and out, where I just felt like there were certain scenes that could have been polished up a little bit and tidied up to make the film more effective overall. But I still enjoyed myself and I found the experience to be very entertaining. And I would really enjoy revisiting this sometime in the future. So, have you seen Psycho Beach Party? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was wildly entertaining and I really enjoyed it a lot. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.